In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to make this very simple off the shoulder top. If this is something you're interested in, then let's dive in. Hi everybody, it's Designs by Simi and you're welcome to my channel. So here is my fabric and it is stretchy both ways. So that's just me trying to show you how much it stretches. Now I'm folding it into two and I'll be folding it again into two. So because I'm cutting both the front and the back together. So now my fabric is folded into four and I'm just trying to arrange it. Now we're cutting an off the shoulder top. So I'm going to be starting with my I'm going to be drawing out my starting line, of course. I hope you can see my chalk. I didn't want to mark on my fabric very deeply with the chalk because I don't want it to get stained, because this is a white material, but just follow me and I promise you're going to get it. So I'm coming off by 5 inches. You can decide to do 4, 6 inches, anyone that you're comfortable with, but I don't want it too off the shoulder. So I'm coming off by 5 inch, and from that 5-inch point I'm marking my armhole. Notice the way I'm placing my tape on that starting line. Now I'm going to be marking my waistline at this point, which is 16.5, to placing my tape 5 inches on that starting line. I'm going to be marking the full length of my top, which is 25 inches. So just follow what I'm saying. I know you cannot actually see the chalk clearly. Like I said, I didn't want to mark on my white fabric. Now I'm going to be marking half of my strap to strap. Because it is stretchy, I'm going to be using 5.5 inches for half of my strap to strap. You can actually make use of 5 inches, it depends on what you want. Now I'm going to be marking a quarter of my bust measurement on my armhole line. Now this is supposed to be 9.5, but I marked 9 inches because this fabric is stretchy. Now I'll be connecting from my strap to my armhole using my curved ruler, but you don't want to use the curviest part of your ruler. Use the more straighter part because you don't want that part too curvy. Now quarter of my waist is 8.5 inches, but I marked 8. Why? Because this is a stretchy fabric. And at the hem of my top, I'm going to be marking what I have left on the fabric, which is about 9.75 inches. Now this is not my hip line. My hip is bigger than this. Where the top stops is slightly above my hip line, so I just took the measurement of that place and I divided it by 4 and I marked it. So now I'll be connecting all of my points together. I hope you understand. And that's just that for the drafting of this top. It is very simple. Now for our neckline, I decided to come down by 1.5 inch for my sweetheart neckline at the front, and I'm just going to be drawing my curve. It's not too curvy, it's not too deep, it's not anything serious, but you can decide to make your neckline lower. It depends on what you want. Now remember, we folded both the front and the back together, so remember not to cut out your front neckline on your back as well. So the first thing I'll be doing is I'll be cutting the straight neckline first, remove my back piece, then cut out my front neckline. So you can see I'm cutting it on the straight neckline at first, then I'll be cutting my armhole curve, then I'll be cutting out my sides. After cutting, I notched my center point, then I removed one of the piece that is for the back. Now the one that I already marked my front neckline on, I'm going to be cutting on it right now, and this piece will be my front piece. So I'm just cutting out the sweetheart neckline. And now for the back, I decided to cut just lower my back neckline just a little bit. So I came down by 0.75 inch at the fold part on my neckline, and I just connected it with a very slight curve back to my strap to strap measurement, and that's what you see there, and I'll be cutting it out. So in order to finish up my neckline, I cut out a strip of fabric. This fabric is about 1.25 inches. So I'm going to be using it as a bias to turn my neckline. So I'm just placing it like this, right side of the strip facing right side of my front piece, and I'll be stitching on it. So after stitching on it, this is what it looks like. So notice I made a small tiny pleat at that center part. So now I'm just going to be trimming off my seam allowance because we don't want that bulk anyways. So now I'll be turning it over just like you do a regular bias, and I'm going to be stitching on it. Now, you know, sometimes stretchy fabrics can be quite tricky to work with. So this fabric kind of gave me a little bit of tough time because I tried sewing it on my sewing machine and I discovered that the stitches were skipping. And I was like, what am I going to do? So I had to loosen my stitches. Now I'm going to show you what to do if your sewing machine is also not sewing your stretchy fabrics properly, or probably your stitches are skipping just like mine was. All you need to do is to get your paper tape, just cut a little bit like this and place it underneath your foot just the way you see me doing, like this, and that's just it. It works like magic. So I tried sewing on it this time around and everything was just smooth, no more skipping of threads. Now after turning my front neckline, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like on the wrong side. Now I'm going to be doing this exact same thing to my back neckline, and now I'm going to be measuring what I have on my neckline. Remember we cut 5.5 inches on fold, so I'm just measuring what I have now, and I have a total of 23 inches on both the front and the back neckline. Now my round shoulder measurement, when I took it firmly, is 42 inches. Now for my front and my back neckline, I have 23 inches. Now we're trying to determine what we're going to be using for our sleeve width. So I subtracted 2 inches allowance for my front and back neckline because you know we need half inch to join to the sleeve. That's half in 4 places, making a total of 2 inches. So now our sleeve is going to be 42 minus 21, which is 21, and you know we have 2 sleeves. That is why I divided it by 2, which gives me 10.5 inches. So the width we're going to use for both sleeve is 10.5 inches each. Now the length of my sleeve that I'm going to be using is 5 inches. Let's have that in mind. Now the way I want to make this sleeve, I don't want to have to finish it at the top and at the bottom, so I'm going to be showing you how to go about it now. So now I have on fold 5.5 inches. Remember I told you that the length of my sleeve is going to be 5 inches, so I placed 5.5 inches on fold, and then I folded it like this, just as if I want to cut my normal sleeve. I used about 9 inches to fold it, and I'm going to be cutting this out. Just follow me. This is very simple once you get it. Now this is what I have. Now go ahead and join it on this side. After joining, this is what I have, and I'm going to be trimming off the excess seam allowance that I have here. After trimming off, I'm going to be turning it inside out such that the seam is at the middle. Now this is going to be the wrong side of my sleeve. I'll be folding it over now, and this is going to be the right side of my sleeve. Now remember that what we're using for our sleeve is 10.5 inches for each sleeve. Now because I'm placing this sleeve on fold, I am going to be using half of 10.5 inches, which is 5.25 inches. I hope we're not confused. It's pretty simple. So because this is placed on fold, that is why I'm using 5.25 inches, okay? But this fabric is stretchy, let's not forget that. So I will advise you to deduct about ½ inch from whatever measurement you got. I ended up using 5.5 inches for mine, and I still had to adjust it later on. So just deduct a little bit, maybe about ½ inch or 1 inch from your measurements. Now I'm bringing the armhole of my front and I'm placing it at that 5 inches point that I marked, and I'm going to be using it to cut out the armhole on the sleeve. I hope you get it. Then I'm going to be marking my biceps measurement, and I'm just going to be cutting it out like this. So please don't get confused. This is the upper part which matches up with the armhole on the bodies. Now this is my second sleeves, and I did the exact same thing I did with the first one. Now I'm going to be using the first one to cut it out just so it is equal. So it's just basically the same thing. Now I'm going to be bringing the front part of my top, and now I'll be matching it up with the armhole that I cut on my sleeve. So just make sure you pin at this point, pin properly so you don't make any mistakes or get confused. Now we're going to be joining with ½ of an inch. So I already joined it at this point, and then I'll be bringing the back now. Now place your back right sides facing each other to the front, and match up the sleeve, right side of the sleeve facing right side of your back, and join it as well. After joining, this is what I have. Now I'll go ahead and overlock all of my seam allowances. Then the next thing after that is to join from my sleeve all the way down to the length of my top. Remember, our seam allowance is ½ of an inch. Then I'm going to be hemming the bottom part of my top as well. Now I have already joined the sides here, and I will also go ahead and overlock the sides. I'm already done overlocking the seam allowance on the sleeve. Now this next step is totally optional. I just want to give the hem of my top a little bit of shape. You can actually do this while cutting, but I prefer to do it at the end. So from this edge right here, I'll be coming up by 1.5 or 2 inches. It depends on how curvy you want it to be, and I'm just going to be connecting it to somewhere along the center front and center back. You can use your curve ruler for this as well. I hope you can see what I'm marking. After drawing out the curved shape that I like, I'm just going to be cutting out with my scissors, and this is what we have. Now this looks so much better to me. Now go ahead and overlock the sides and also the hem. Then I'll just be folding the hem in once because I've overlocked already. After I was done with everything, this is what it looks like. Now I gave it a good press. I pressed my seam with my steam iron just so everything is smooth, and this is what it looks like both on the inside and on the outside. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. Till I come your way again. Bye.